FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
In the last year, I think we've seen a big jump in the growth of the cell phone, or the device formerly called the cell phone, as a citizen of the internet, and that is the iPhone. And the iPhone matters not because it comes from a company that happens to have a very hot brand right now, Apple, not because Steve Jobs is his genius at marketing and got what, by one estimate, was $400 million worth of free advertising by announcing it 6 months before it shipped. Not because of any of the coolness factors, not even because of the hardware design, which is very slick and sleek. I know some of you have. There's somebody here with an iPhone. How many have an iPhone? Wow, this is an unusual crowd. I'm in Aspen, yeah. They only sold 6 million of them. 4 million were sold in Aspen, I think. I'm not sure, but actually, I shouldn't say only. That was a pretty good sales total for the first year on a device that started off at $600. The important thing about the iPhone, and the important thing about almost every technological gadget or device you will see, is software. It's not the hardware. The hardware is beautiful. The hardware is slick. But the hardware is made, I don't know how, some of you probably know this, all of your laptops, you with the sleek MacBook Air and you with the clunky Dell, doesn't matter. All of them are made in about 5 companies, by about 5 companies in China who have between them, I don't know, 20 factories, some relatively small number of factories, and your Apple over there and your Dell over there may be made in the same factory. Hardware design, of course, is important, and Apple does a good job designing the hardware. But the key to this is software. And why do I say the iPhone is important? Why do I say it has made a big leap in the importance of the cell phone as a citizen of the internet? Because Apple did 2 really important things with the software. First of all, the iPhone is the first handheld computer, and it is a handheld computer which happens to make voice calls. It's not really a cell phone, even though it's called iPhone. And by the way, what I'm saying is essentially true of the iPod Touch, which is an iPhone that doesn't make phone calls. The iPhone is the first handheld computer that has a PC class, PC grade operating system in it. And I'm not going to get into a lot of boring techno-babble details, but they took the Macintosh operating system, which is on a par, I'm not going to get into the Mac versus PC debate, but you have Windows, you have the Mac operating system, you have Linux. Those are the principal operating systems that drive personal computers and that do all the things that personal computers do. Apple took one of those 3 operating systems and crammed it into something you can put in your pocket. Now, they stripped away a whole bunch of functionality that isn't appropriate to a cell phone, like all the things that make the mouse work. There's not going to be a mouse on your cell phone, and a number of other things. But the core of it, the things that give it the power, something called the kernel, the graphics engine, those things are in the iPhone. And they're in the iPod Touch. And no one else has done that. Some of you may have a Windows mobile phone. How many have a Windows mobile phone? A lot fewer. Not so popular in Aspen, apparently. Windows Mobile is a marketing term. It has nothing to do with Windows. Windows isn't in your phone. There's an operating system in there that under the covers is much more primitive and much cruder and much older and much more patched up than what Apple has jammed into the iPhone. Now, Google is working on doing the same thing. By the end of this year, you'll be able to buy phones not made by Google, but carrying an operating system made by Google that's based on Linux called Android. And because it's based on Linux, it basically has the guts of a PC class operating system in it. And why does this matter? Why would you care? It matters because it allows those phones to become real platforms. It allows those phones to scale. It allows all of you, any of you who want to become software entrepreneurs, to write software that will run on these things. Now, you can write software for a BlackBerry, and you can write software for a Trio, but you're going to be able to do a ton on these platforms. And by the way, I think more more of these PC-grade operating systems and handheld computers are going to be out there. I don't think the iPhone is going to remain alone in this category for very long. For one thing, the Google ones are coming, but there'll be others.